Gary, we're in the heart of pre-season now. Just how is everything going? How are preparations going for the new season?
Yeah, really good. I think that we spoke about Indonesia and it was a little bit different, a little bit of a challenge in some ways, but it was also good from an experience point of view, and obviously we played plenty of games. So there was a little bit of concern for me as to where we would be when we got back. So of course the flights, and we didn't do a lot of training that week, but actually I think the players are in a pretty good position. We've got still one or two coming back, but I think most of them are starting to come back into training now, starting to build some sort of training minutes. And the performances in the games have been largely positive. Again, you're not after perfection at this stage. You're after things that we need to work on. You want to see little signs of partnerships developing and players coming in and performing well, and I think we've seen that. So far quite positive, but of course, pre-season's not always an indication of how the season's going to start, but you can only judge it on that, and I'm pleased with where we're at.
Does Indonesia feel like a week ago, a month ago, yesterday?
Well, listen, when we were running around that track in Bandung, that seemed quite a lonely place, didn't it, in the afternoon? So yeah, it does seem quite a long time ago. I think again, it's nice to get back in some ways, to get back into that little bit more rhythm. I spoke about that when we were out there. It felt like we needed to find our rhythm from a training perspective. I think we've been able to do that. Of course, against Mansfield, we had to manage that a little bit because we'd only flown back, a week before. Some players had only trained on the Friday. So again, it's just trying to feel like now we've got a period of time, 3 games in a week, 3 home games in a week, all different types of games. I think now not the serious preparation, because of course everything's serious and everything's good preparation, but now we have to start thinking about our first game a little bit more closely.
One thing I wanted to address from Indonesia, because I feel like everybody's walking in eggshells. Do you want to talk about the Lion or do you not? Are you happy about it?
I'm happy to talk about the Lion. But it was interesting because a lot of people have spoke to me about it whilst not sniggering, but whilst saying it was an unusual experience. And they said, was that like a welcome to Indonesia? No, that was at the end of a press conference that lasted 2.5 hours, which you well know, you told me about and said it was going to be 25 minutes long. But that was classic Indonesia, wasn't it? Everything was just magnified, so much bigger. But again, look, we said it out there, like it was just a completely different experience. I think the team were well greeted out there. I think the people were so incredibly friendly, and some of the other experiences outside of football were really interesting to be part of. So yeah, riding a lion. That was one of the guys said to me afterwards. He must have seen my face. He said it wasn't a real lion. I think he was slightly annoyed at me that I didn't embrace it fully. But yeah, it was good fun.
Just looking ahead now, and also the fact we just had the game against Mansfield. We've got 3 pre-season games coming up at home consecutively as well. What did you get from the Mansfield game? What are you hoping to get out of the next 3?
Yeah, I think again, match minutes are all important. Getting players through without getting injured and feeling that condition improve, and the sort of fitness aspect as well as the tactical and technical parts. I thought we got that out of the Mansfield game. Lots to work on, which is what this stage of the season's about, which we know. Sometimes when you mix the teams and you're still finding minutes and the game becomes a little bit fractured, maybe you see the first half and there's a little bit more synergy, and then you start making lots of different changes. It becomes harder for those players that are playing. So I think now what we've got to do is start to feel and build that rhythm around, looking more like the team that might take the pitch in the first sort of month of the season. So again, it's giving them the match minutes. It's mixing it up a little bit so it's fair on everybody, but at the same time we're preparing to win the first game. So we need to make sure that we start to move towards that with a little bit more acute detail, if you like.
And there's some interesting challenges coming up. Bristol Rovers, a team we know well, and then 2 Spanish teams that have seemed to perform pretty well over in Spain the last few years.
Yeah, I think those games are great. They're different. I spoke to Brian Kearsmacher about it. Said the Mansfield and the Bristol game will feel a little bit more like a championship game, a bit more intensity, pressing, a little bit more physical. Possibly the Spanish games will be a little bit more like maybe something like him is used to, in terms of that maybe slower technical game. But again, some games you have to dominate the ball and see how that works for you. Some games you might have a little bit less possession maybe in some of those games, and you can also work on that aspect. So Yeah, listen, I still think at this stage of the season, we're not playing against these teams at the start of the season, so we're still thinking about us. We're still thinking about what do we want out of the game and how do we want to approach it. Whereas when the first game comes, you're thinking a little bit about your opponent. You're thinking about how you negate that as well. Whereas that's probably less important in these games. So yeah, looking forward to the 3 games. Looking forward to getting back to our stadium in front of some of our fans. I'm sure not everybody's going to turn up, but hopefully they turn up in numbers and maybe have a look at 1 or 2 of the new signings.